My name is Ndarake Ekanem as at today. 38 years ago when I met, can you say 35 years ago when I met with this iconic man, was about 35. So
you were about 35 then?
When we met.
Wow.
In the political field.
Okay. Okay, so what was your relationship like with him? At what point did you really meet him? What happened? Tell us the story of your meeting and your walk with him.
We were party members, NPN, National Party of Nigeria. And then suddenly there was a split in the party. There was a split, there was a Home Front and Lagos Front. Home Front led by the governor. In fact, it was a creation of the people who wanted to run the government from Lagos. At that time, the seat of government was in Lagos. Shagari, the president of the Federal Republic, was in Lagos as seat of government. But there was the Senate president who was a party member. And our brother and friend, Senator Victor Ekanem, who represented Ekanem Senatorial District. They felt Dr. Isong, particularly Wires felt Dr. Isong wasn't recognizing him enough. He would have preferred Dr. Isong to come to the airport and receive him whenever he came visiting. The youth stepped in. The youth wing of the party stepped in to defend Dr. Isong. I mean, we were the youth wing of the NPN at that time. I was the vice chairman for mainland. There was a vice chairman for Goja area, and Yetiokun was the overall chairman of the youth wing of the party. So when they came to nominate Dr. Isong to contest, there was a lot of problem between the Lagos Front and the Home Front. Home Front led by Wires and Victor Ekanem. And they co-opted my brother, Donald Etiebet, into it. So they joined, and Dr. Okuje, who was chairman of the panel to do the nomination, a Bini man. There was one Dr. Okoni, and Isiaka Rabiu, who is the owner of the IRS airline. Isiaka Rabiu airline is Isiaka Rabiu. IRS airline. He was in the committee. He was getting on 500,000. Dr. Isong called the caucus, secretary to government. Dr. Okpong, as he then was secretary to government. Called Royalty, was commissioner for works. They came, called the caucus of the party and asked us to tell the story to the caucus. We relayed this story that they wanted Dr. Isong to give 500,000 before they can give him nomination. So he now asked his secretary to government, Chibupa, who later became paramount ruler of Ona, was his political advisor. So they should give opinion. Dr. Okpong started playing around with words. Dr. Isong got annoyed, told him, "Miam belibit nangando, mias ribit." No any kera. Dr. Okpong said that before he could voice, one he know from it. Mpom ye di need a cock, I need a cock. Dr. Isong shouted down, shouted on him. I cock who would fin, I cock who would fin. Then he said, if my people want me to be their governor, I'll be their governor. I may Clement Isong di biata, he joined in me. And Etiokun told him, "Sir, if your party does not nominate you, you cannot be governor." He said, "I'm to the governor. I have been a better governor. Anybody can be governor of a state. Not everyone can be governor of central bank. Yang taken with the governor. And then he asked Pan Royalty, that was his commissioner for works. Nko many Monday Hammer, ke Shobodo, ke minister, ke Stormful. You will lead the youth with the commissioner for finance. I've forgotten his name, and Ogoja man was a lecturer. The commissioner for work should lead us with the commissioner for finance to go to the treasury and break and collect 500,000 and give the committee. That was how principled Dr. Isong was. That is how Dr. Isong lost nomination. How did he lose? Because this committee went to Abak and doctored the delegates list in Abak. They would have preserved the delegates list for him to go to primaries. But as soon as he said he now asked, what does Ishaq Rabiu need 500,000 naira for? What does Dr. Koje, that has the largest hospital in Benin, need 500 naira for? Netiokun told him, sir, have you seen a Hausa man own a shop where people go and work and they close in the evening, then they sign voucher at the end of the month? A Hausa man is naturally a commission agent. There are 5 of them. If they collect 500,000, they share 100,000 naira apiece. By the time he collects from 10, he has 1 million. Dr. Isong said he didn't have that type of money. If we had, we should go and give. And he lost the nomination. How did he lose nomination? That was on a Friday. No, that was on a Thursday. So Friday afternoon, since we didn't bring the money, they went to Abak and doctored the delegates list. By Saturday, we met in the deputy governor's house, Dr. Foboche, and said we are not attending the primaries, not knowing that his brothers would betray Dr. Isong. Saturday morning, we had concluded we are not attending the we would boycott. But as people were streaming in, they called Dr. Isong that they have, I wouldn't mention names of people who betrayed him. They told Dr. Isong they had bought delegates. He should come for the primaries without his deputy. And so when Ogoja people turn up at Paradise City, they didn't see Ofoboche. It was concluded that Dr. Isong had dropped Ofoboche as his running mate. Dr. Isong was defeated with only 11 votes in spite of these intrigues. That's how Dr. Isong lost nomination. Was a very principled man. Very principled man. That's
what we want to know.
That's what I know Dr. Isong for.
The kind of person he was.
Dr. Isong. Dr. Isong was a very principled, straightforward human being. Dr. Isong had the intention and the will to develop the then Cross River State, and he did his best. We had industries spread across.
Okay, so he had the will and intention.
Will, not only intention, he had the will, the desire, and the willingness. And he did it to the best that a human being could do. He cited the quartz steel industry in Eket. There was the battery factory in Ikorekpene, the biscuit factory in Ikorekpene. There was the foam factory in Ogoja, the match factory in Calabar. Those are ones I can remember, but he tried to spread the asbestos on it in Oron. He did all those things.
What about Champion Breweries? Was that him?
Champion Breweries. Champion Breweries. And at that time, if you worked in Champion Brewery, it was like you are working in Shell today. It was a good place to work. And He had a lot of challenges because of this factionization of the party. The minister that he nominated to serve, who later was first Minister of Works and later Minister of Finance, the same person. We needed to, I don't know whether, lobby. Let me use the word lobby. He needed to be lobbied before he could give us what is our own. Because of party situation, Shagari gave us Oron Ekanem road. Rather than do the road, the minister, because he came from Oron, he started doing the road from Eket Oron road to his village. Then he started part of the road, the junction town from Calabar to Ekanem. He started another portion through to Abak and couldn't even cross to Aba road. There was to be a bypass so that Ekanem would not create a traffic problem. There wouldn't, because of the road, there wouldn't be traffic problem, which was a good idea, but nobody can see the road. And then when that government ceased to be, Asam became a member of the House of Rep. He took on that road. He wanted that road to be completed, but by the time he got to the ministry budget, the money was not there, but the road was not done. So Dr. Isong had problem to get projects cited here from the party that helped to install the federal government. To collect the allocation due to the state, it was impossible. So that is why when there was this factionalization and we moved from NPN to UPN, we blocked the stadium. We didn't know when Shagari was the national presidential candidate to campaign at Calabar Stadium. So Dr. Isong had to plead that we should respect the president. We said he's a politician, that we would treat every politician on the same level. So by the time they wanted to resolve it, they said, what was the problem? We said, we don't collect our normal allocation. So there was no way. They tried to see how we could rescind the decision we had made at the Sports Council to allow Shagari to use the stadium. We said that that was impossible unless another board sits to take a resolution. It was impossible. It was impossible because we don't have allocation from the ministry to hold board meetings. That was at the stage that Wires, as Senate President then, started talking. So I told him at that stage, because I had declared his age. By that time, I saw that he was a younger person to me. I told him at the caucus meeting of the party, he needed me to. He could not talk when I'm talking. I was an older person. So they say, but Wires, you said Cross River State is in your pocket. How can this young man be talking to you like this? I said, he's never my mate, so he cannot be talking. That was why Wires went and sprayed his hair with some white substance to show his elderly. So they now had to give money, a due allocation to Cross River State. Then Dr. Isong gave us money to hold the council meeting and rescind the resolution that had taken place before I went into the place. Dr. Isong, he never talked down on anybody. But what annoyed Dr. Isong was the betrayal of his own brothers. But he never was angry with anyone. After they toppled his government, let me tell you a situation that the man who benefited from the crisis when Buhari toppled the government, 2 of them ended in the same room at African prison. With somebody who was deputy governor of Rivers State, Ada George. Dr. Isong told me that when they went to African, you know, in the prison, everyone is on the same level. The 3 of them were given 1 room and 1 bed. Dr. Chibechebe that succeeded him, himself, and former deputy governor of Rivers State, Ada George. Ada George conceded to 2 of them because they were elderly people to sleep on the bed. He said they slept on the bed for a spring bed throughout the night. Echebe couldn't just move near to him on the same bed. They slept and woke up in the morning. Apparently, Echebe did not know if there was a coup, it would affect everyone. So when the military asked him to come, he had packed his night bag to prison. He had his toothbrush, his chewing stick, his paste, and so on. So he now asked Echebe, did you come with chewing stick? He said no, that he had to give him chewing stick. And they live in the same room. His family was already in Calabar, so they could bring them food. And they never took grudge about what happened that brought all of them into the same room. You know, God has a way of leveling people. God has a way of leveling people. So Dr. Isong was a very forgiving person. Very forgiving person. He told me a story. And I had been to his home. I got closer to him when the government was toppled. Got very close to him. There was a situation we went to travel at Calabar Airport. I had stopped seeing him for a long while because of struggle on what to feed. My children were in the secondary school then. So when I met him at the airport, he was with the wife, Isong. I went to shake hands with him. Isong said, sir, what's wrong? Said, so if you didn't meet me at the airport, would you have greeted me? I said, sir, I'm sorry that I don't have time to come. He said, yes, because you have seen me at the airport, you come to greet me. So that was our relationship. Up till today, when they meet my wife in the market, she will ask my wife, where is my son? Dr. Isong took me in as a son. I'm happy that that relationship has extended even to our own children. My son sent me a message last month that he met Clement, his first son, met Clement at oil and gas meeting in Abuja. So when he realized he's from Akwa Ibom, he now asked him, young man, who is your dad? And he mentioned that is Ndarake Ekanem. He said, I know him. He's my father's ally. I was happy. I was thrilled. And the last boy, Ubong, Dr. Isong's son, he worked in one of Equatorial Trust Bank. He was the manager here. And so when I went that time he was at King's College. So when I went to the bank and saw him, I just called him like my son. Ubong, say, uncle, say, come, go and bring me money. He was with his friend. He said, that should be my cousin, they should be met. And if you don't come. So when I called him, he didn't know He couldn't place me. So when I left, he asked and if your uncle. He said, who would that man be? He said, that is your father's friend. He brought the money and gave to me at the counter.
So how do you think the world should remember Chief Dr. Clement Isong?
We should remember him as the man who laid a foundation for industrialization of the then Cross River State. With limited resources, he had a vision, very visionary man. He laid foundation for industrialization of the then Cross River State. Unfortunately, most of those industries have been mismanaged. I have not seen any that is functional today, except the attempt, because it's an attempt to revive Champion Brewery. At that time, the battery factory, I understand the army made an order for weaponry from that factory. Mortar, what the army calls mortar. They came and made an order there. People used to queue from Onitsha, from Aba, to buy battery from Sunshine Battery Factory. They mismanaged it. It's dead completely. I think there's...
What else should he remembered for?
Well,
his legacies now. What else should he be remembered for, other than the fact that he's a father of industrialization? How else should we remember him?
Someone that was disciplined and honest. He never thought about self. He thought about community and the state he belongs. He never thought, because if Dr. Isong had been a selfish person, he would have gotten nomination from his party. But he refused to trade his integrity to get nomination from his party, and rather quietly ease himself out of the political scene. He's recognized everywhere. Before he became, after being governor of Central Bank, he became consultant to ECOWAS community. It was from ECOWAS that Victor Akan, that later turned against him, he went to, I think, Monrovia to plead with him to come and contest on the platform of NPN. It was Victor Akan that went and brought him. Not Victor Akan. Dr. Upong, Dr. I. Upong. Dr. I. Upong comes from the same, but they look for someone with clout, that international clout, to be the candidate of the party. There were other people. We had such other notable person like Chief Iyu Okun. Chief Iyu Okun was the man that helped create the present Dupani Itu, Ikorekbene Road, with the late Chief Asiak. Not the paramount ruler, but the senior brother to the paramount ruler. I understand they trekked through the forest while the helicopter was in the air. They trekked through the forest. You know, Dr. Chief Okun was a forester of note. So they trekked, those are the people.
Do you miss him?
Dr. Isong.
Yes.
Not me alone missing him. The entire humanity have missed a role model. Dr. Isong is someone, in the family we talk about him. When we sit among his friends, we talk about him. He's a man that we remember for a long time. He was a good friend and a mentor.
Looking at the political struggles and the kind of situations that we find ourselves, In an attempt to hear the stories from all the names that were mentioned here, I try to remember how the last election was, with so much fear, with so much intimidation, all of that. Now my mind is, I'm just wondering if this kind of person was alive today, what would he think about us? How would he feel to be in this present state, in this present nation, with all the greed, with all the way that politicians take home monies? What do you think Chief Dr. Isong would say to our leaders today?
If we want to evaluate elections in Nigeria, I have told you I'm 75 years old. I have witnessed election from the colonial times. I didn't take part. Maybe 1964 elections, I took part. I voted, yes. But I have never felt the type of tension that we saw at the last election. I'm telling you sincerely, I was personally scared. I never believed this country would remain till this moment. But we have to give God the glory because He does His things the way He likes. I told you when they denied Dr. Isong nomination to contest 1983, he told us as governor, anything you people decide for yourselves, you can do it. He never directed us to join any group or the other. You men are capable of thinking for yourselves. He told me, don't shut the stadium against Shagari. They will come and destroy Cross River. I say, sir, when they kill, they won't kill all. There will be people left to tell the story. We discuss it in our dialect. I told him. We had Aniti Okun then as chairman of CBC, was the Cross River Radio. Aniti Okun re-designated it CBC, Calabar Broadcasting Corporation. And so we were running a program every 30 minutes, just a moment, and we will air the ills of the central government. Dr. Isong called us and told us, please don't air these things again. They will come and kill us. We agreed. Senator Okun is still alive. We told him to his face that, sir, we won't do it again. He had a transistor radio, like small one day, a satellite transistor radio that he kept by his side. So the next 30 minutes, he will go and open. And just a moment, and he will shut the radio. He would send the PEMSE government house, what they call chief of staff, to come and look for us. Then that man was Ekpan Wilson Ituguro. He's from Ikorobasi area. He will come and ask us that it says you people should not air this thing again. We say we are fighting for ourselves. It's gone. We are fighting for our own lives. But he kept telling us, don't cause warfare in this place.
You know, now I'm beginning to think, was he right to refuse to buy or pay for the nomination?
He was a principal man. He didn't have that money. He didn't steal money. So he didn't see the need to take 500,000 naira from state coffers. 500,000 naira at that time, I don't know whether we can talk of 500 billion today. I remember at that time when I was appointed chairman of Sports Council, I said, let me buy a car so that people will not say I bought the car from proceeds from the office. I bought a 505 saloon car, GR, from UTC, shop, not stand, brand new with spare tire, 11,000 naira. So when we're talking of 500,000, you can understand what it means. A flat boot Mercedes was 21,000 naira. That cannot buy one tire for a car today. So he was a principled person. He didn't want to take money from the treasury to buy his stay in office.
What did he like to say? I know all of us, we have something that we like running, a sentence or something about God, or what was his own, one thing that was common while he talked to people, a gesture.
He cherished his name. He cherished his name. You know, and if your person cherish his name, what they will say about you tomorrow. So Dr. Isong was a good man. He wanted to live with that. That's all. When we would hold caucus meeting in his house, let me tell you about this man. There is a shirt they used to call Reed Brook. The ones he used to wear when he was governor of Central Bank. This collar was shredded. They will iron it, starch it. He will fold the arms and sit down and cross his leg like the aristocrat that he was. With the shredded, he didn't say he was governor. Those old shirts, he wore them clean, well ironed, and stayed in his house. Dr. Isong. He was a very principled person. And there was a day we had caucus meeting in his house. When you get in there, the seats had a bell. So they serve us drinks with 4 lumps of meat in a saucer. So we stayed over 1 hour. One of our friends rang the bell. The steward came. We asked him to give him a second beer. Dr. Isong looked at him. It's from government house, so it's not his personal drink. So when we went out, after the meeting, we queried the man, why did you ask for a second bottle of beer? Did you see how Dr. Isong looked at you? He said, you see this beer? He was drinking from government house. How can I sit in a meeting with this man for over 1 hour and drink 1 bottle of beer? So that was Dr. Isong. I tell you another story. The wife is still living. He had a Thanksgiving in the church after the detention. So we went. You know, the first round of correction, the second round of correction. So the third time, the wife, not that Ned didn't have money, Ned asked Chief to give, we noticed it because we sat in front, to give her offering. Dr. Isong. Inside the church, everyone was looking. That was Dr. Isong. That was Dr. Isong.
Students to the call.
Yes. The son, Clement, was a state council when he was a governor. Rather than live in government house and forget about living his life or molding his own life, Dr. Isong caused Ministry of Justice to transfer the son to Ekanem as state council, to go and live his own life, not to live on him. That is the principal man that we have. What has happened? The first daughter, Ekanem, is a professor. She lectures in the university. I've not seen her for a long while. I don't know about the other children. But Rubong, the last son, I think is a regional manager in a bank. Clement, that the first son, is a top seat in the oil and gas industry. If he didn't discipline them, because the society starts from the family. The society starts from the family. If you say you are rich, you cannot discipline your children. By the time you die, you don't have rest. You don't have rest. But I would believe Dr. Isong smiles in his grave. But I think he's in heaven because he was a good man. Dr. Isong was a good man. He disciplined us. You know, when they toppled the government, they wanted to probe us. Etiebet, who was governor, because we opposed him, sent to tell me that I should stay put. I resigned before they swore him in. Because he wanted to come and sack me on radio. But I resigned before time. They tried to probe what had happened in Sports Council. They couldn't find anything because there was nothing to steal. Dr. Isong made sure he gives you salary to pay workers. He gives you money for project. At that time, the director of sports they boarded, I think, 11 vehicles. So they told me, Chairman, how many do you want? I said, I have a car. My wife has a car. So I don't need, you can do whatever. Because I knew if Dr. Isong heard that I benefited from boarding of vehicle, he would sack me on the radio. That was the man we knew. That was the man we knew. Very prudent, very honest, very sincere. And he liked people who were sincere. Thank
you very much, sir. You sound like you're so proud to know.
Very proud, very proud. Such people, you don't have such rare people around every time.
Have you seen any other leader that's like him since he was gone? Any other leader like him? Any governor?
That we can
liken to the late Chief
Dr. Isong. I don't know. Please, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. You know that time, if you had what to say, you say it openly. The other man will reply. But these days, if you say bad about your opponent, they hit you.
So he used to accept criticisms?
When the man came here, he allowed the opposing opinion. But any certain Basi ran a paper. His sole duty was to criticize Dr. Isong. And one chief, E.U. Okun, used to call Chief Okun Betty. I think that is the name of Chief Okun's village, Okun Betty. He abused them. Dr. Isong didn't bother. But he would buy the papers. He said the paper was good for entertainment.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, that is what he said. It was good for entertainment.
He didn't take the
He didn't just bother about it. He said that he must remain focused on what he was doing. Never had a grudge about anybody.
Well, maybe we should all strive to be like him.
We should just try and pray to God that God can raise such leaders again in our time. We pray to God that God can raise such leaders in our time.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate the time.
Thank you very much for having me tell the story of my friend. We don't have time to talk about this man, but thank you for giving me time to say a few things.
Oh, that's just a few. So there's a lot more.
Few things I know about this man. You never gave me time about this man.
Wow.
But this is what I can say about my friend, my mentor, and role model.
Thank you very much.
Role model. Because my workers here, somebody complained the color of his shirt. Norton was losing. So I told him the story of Dr. Isong. That after being governor of Central Bank and sitting governor of the state, he could wear a shirt with shredded collar, but clean. They starch it and iron will fold the hand twice, fold it twice and sit down like the aristocrat that he was.
What does that teach us, though?
To be humble. Fulfillment. Dr. Isong was a fulfilled person. He went to America that time to buy a shirt from somewhere. Unfortunately, the salesman gave him an oversized size. He brought it home. So when his commissioner, E.E.P. Umana, traveled to America, he sent him to go and return that suit to the man and bring his very size. We were wondering, why couldn't this man give out his suit to somebody? Which state are you going? He mentioned. He said, return this suit, and he gave the name of the salesman that will know his correct fitting. He didn't say size, he said my fitting, that the man knows his own fitting.
Was it done?
It was done.
Oh Lord.
It was done. It was done. I mean, if you go and stay in a caucus meeting in government house, and then Dr. Isong expects you cannot drink more than a bottle of beer. One, you get drunk and start talking nonsense.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. And if you drink more than one bottle, it will get into the head from the stomach. And so when you start shouting, he will tell you, gentlemen, I think this meeting should end at this stage. You are no more saying sense. You are talking nonsense. Then everybody will disperse. We can hold this meeting another day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. In the families, people are not disciplined. And so it now extends to the society. It extends to the society.
That reminds me of all the things that you've talked about, his discipline, his prudency, and contentment. Which one are you living by?
I'm contented with what I have. Very, very contented with what I have.
Your shirt is not shredded. The color of your shirt is not shredded.
I'm in the shop.
Okay.
When I'm at home,
Okay.
when I'm at home, I'm down to earth. I'm in my boxers and a t-shirt. Even when they told me you are coming for interview, did you see me go to put on a suit or whatever?
Thank you.
The same dress my workers wear, I'm wearing the same thing.
So you will not give us even a bottle of beer like Dr. Isong would give?
What I can give you is because you come to the shop, you have memory of
LG.
coming here. Let's see whether my t-shirts are still there.
Amazing. This is the part where I advertise LG wherever I go. Too much sense.
The branded shirts here,
Okay.
I don't keep it in the store. See the carton.
Wow.
So when they take out, you watch what we are doing. When they take out, they taken to -2. They write the date so that I know what is left.